If you're looking to maximize your chest growth at home without using free weights, then this is the video for you. Today, I'm gonna break down a handful of my favorite resistance band chest exercises and show you the tips, tricks, and techniques to maximize your chest growth and make sure that you're putting on muscle. First up, we're gonna hit one of the staple exercises, the bench press or the chest press. That is the time-tested free weight exercise that's very popular, a pressing exercise where you're gonna start in this lower position and then you're just pushing out in front of you. You're bringing that humerus bone towards the center line of your chest, and that is contracting the pec muscle. So as you're kind of going through that, you're squeezing, getting a big contraction here. The kicker with this is that it's a compound exercise. It's not just chest that's doing this exercise. You're using chest, you're using shoulders, you're using triceps, and it's very hard to try to isolate the chest as much as you can with like a free weight exercise when you're using bands. And that's why I think there's just a lot of debate about which version of the banded chest press is the right one. And personally, I think it's going to come down to you, the individual, and your geometry and how you feel the best, where you can get the best chest contraction. So that's kind of long-winded, so let's get into like a little bit more about what I mean. So obviously the simplest way to do this, grab yourself a band. It could be 41 inch, 37 inch, 32 inch, whatever, doesn't matter. You're gonna wrap it around your back, and then you're gonna bring it up into that small of your back, and now we can do a chest press. It's resisted. The thing with bands is it's gonna be light at the bottom, and depending on your band length and your geometry, you might run out of tension here at the bottom, which is a little bit of a challenge because most hypertrophy comes from this stretch position. So you wanna be able to set it up with a very good stretch at the bottom. And then as you're kind of going through that, progressive resistance kicks in, and honestly, it feels good here. And when you're using just this two-handed bilateral version, you have a little bit more convergence, where you bring your arms together and squeeze them at the top to get a lot of chest muscle contraction. But the kicker with this one is that band is coming in underneath my armpits, and I can also wrap it around my shoulders, but ultimately you're always gonna have some kind of shoulder torque here where the band isn't pulling in a perfectly straight line through your joints. So it's gonna engage a lot more shoulders and triceps to be able to stabilize that, and it may not feel as powerful in the chest. So you can add some resistance band handles to help make it more comfortable on your hands, but you're still gonna get that shoulder torque and the tricep additions, so you may wanna try something else. That is where the resistance band bars come in. And there's tons of different bars. I'm gonna show you two of them from Clench Fitness today. The first is the Clench Fitness Carbon Bar, which is 26 inches long. This is with our 41 inch green band, so you can see there's a bit of room here. So that means at the bottom of the rep, you're not gonna have as much tension, but a lot of people find this to be very comfortable for what they're doing, and with that chest contraction at the top and the narrower grip, they feel like they get a really good chest engagement. Personally, because I'm a bigger guy, I don't prefer this bar versus the next one that I'm gonna show you. This is the Nexus bar from Clench. So this is longer. It's a 49 inch end to end, and it's about 38 inches between the hooks. And that allows you to kind of, one, it's gonna stretch this band out a little bit more. Two, it's gonna make it easier to get into, especially for big people like me. I can just wrap it around my back, you still gotta like jimmy this band around to get it down around them shoulder blades where you want it. But now I got some room so I can go with a narrower grip or a little bit wider grip, and it's still not getting into my arms and my shoulders. And also I'm getting good tension. So when I retract my shoulder blades at the start of this exercise, I can get some good tension at the bottom, and then exhale, squeeze it all the way through, and then try to contract, drive those humerus bones towards the center line, drive those biceps into my pec, big squeeze at the top. So personally, this one feels the best to me, and you can really load it up. Like you can put some really big bands on this and just completely fail out of it. And it's relatively safe feeling, it's comfortable, and you can control it. One thing I talked about with the chest press is that potential for your shoulder muscles to kind of get overactivated due to that extra torque because of the vector that the band is creating on your limbs. One way we can mitigate that is to do this next exercise, which is a banded push-up. Now, obviously we know how to do this, right? You wrap the band around your back, bring it up kind of as high as you can. We're right back into this, chest press configuration. Now we can get down on the floor and we can do a push-up, right? So we got the band wrapped around our thumbs, we're in our push-up stance. And now we're adding progressive resistance to our push-up, which is gonna take away that shoulder engagement because now the floor is providing the reaction force on the rotational component of that vector, and it's gonna allow us to do more resistance. The big thing here is we've now changed it from a resistance band only exercise to a resistance band plus free weights exercise, right? Because we got all of our body weight in there. So it's going to be a little bit different. Personally, I love doing banded push-ups, but a lot of people may struggle with them. But you can do cool modifications like going on your knees or doing a incline push-up to reduce that free weight component and drive more into the bands. One big limitation is the amount of resistance that you're going to be able to add with bands because you're kind of limited by how much you can hold with your hands, right? Eventually, this may be too uncomfortable for you to hold all that resistance. But in my experience, I rarely need to go higher than like a black or a purple band with my push-ups just because of how heavy I am as a human being. Another really cool thing that you can do with banded push-ups is to elevate yourself off the floor using like some dumbbells or like push-up handles to give you room to go deeper. So what do I mean by that? I do this every week at the end of my chest workout to just torch my pecs. So you get the same banded push-up setup and then grab onto some handles here. So now we're able to get deeper and really stretch those pecs out. And I'll usually sit down here, pause for like a 1 to 2 second count, and then exhale, big squeeze at the top, and then control this all the way down. And like I said, you're not gonna need a lot of added band resistance to do this, but that progressive resistance, it just turns on those pecs right here. You're getting all that extra resistance at that squeeze point. Combine that with the extra stretch at the bottom, and it'll just pump your pecs up like it's nobody's business. Next up, one of my all-time favorites, banded chest flies. Now, personally, I think these may trump all the other chest fly exercises out there solely because of the progressive resistance. So as I'm stretching this band, the further I stretch it, the more resistance it puts out. Talked about this time and time again. With a chest fly, it's like the perfect strength curve. So you're gonna have less resistance here when you have a lot of joint compromise going on with your shoulders, and then you're gonna have more resistance right here and as you go to the peak contraction to really squeeze those pecs and drive all of that load and hypertrophy into the pecs and keep your shoulders and other muscle groups out of the exercise. That is the secret sauce with banded chest flies that you can't get. Cable machines come close, but they don't have progressive resistance. It's constant throughout, which is good, but I still think that these babies are better. And with that, you can set these up so many different ways. So obviously I'm just doing like a standing version with a chest high anchor point to kind of hit that mid chest. But like I said before, everybody's different with their geometry and how your chest muscles contract as you kind of move your humerus through different angles. So I encourage you to kind of just like, what do? I try to like find angles of movement where I feel my chest muscle contracting like I'm doing right now. I'm just like standing here and feeling kind of how that chest engages. Find that spot and then set that up and do that exercise so that you can just get peak engagement, or if you want to target, whether you want to target the low side, the midpoint, or the high point, you can change your angles based on that. Another awesome thing that you can do that I love to do is set this up with an incline bench so you don't have to use so much core stabilization as you're doing the exercise. And then you can really just drive all that load right into the chest. And this is like, if I had to pick one chest exercise to do with resistance bands, it would be this one. And you could do this and you're gonna grow your chest muscles without doing anything else. All right, last but definitely not least, it's all about the angles, right? So we're gonna do some overhead flies with resistance bands, and this is a little bit unconventional. So typically with an overhead fly, you're like laying on a bench and basically, you know, doing this overhead fly with a dumbbell, trying to work with gravity, and that's gonna do some lats, and also it's gonna engage your chest muscles kind of at the top of the rep. Now, we're free from gravity, and we're able to set this up to target the chest even more. So the way I like to do this is to grab a high anchor point, take your 41-inch band, fold it in half, grab your super ultra light carbon bar, makes it really easy to set up, pop the band in, one on each side. And now you're gonna have to play around kind of with the height of this and with the band size based on your own, you know, personal geometry once again. But the gist of this exercise is we want to use the wall to kind of brace ourselves like the bench can. And now we're going to be able to kind of lean ourselves away from this to load up that tension so that we're pulling ourselves into this fully extended overhead position. The kicker is if you lean kind of too far, you're going to be more dependent on your core. So you're going to have to kind of play with your height on the wall, how close you are to the wall to get the right angle for yourself. But then you're going to keep your arms straight. And then we're just going to press this thing down right in front of us. And obviously we're going to get as far as we can to that peak point of the band contraction and then squeeze those chest muscles. So we're not just squeezing down, but I also want you to be squeezing together. Like think of like trying to crush that bar together in between your hands and then also down so that at the bottom of this rep, getting a big squeeze, and you're gonna just feel that right here in these like lower pec area. And with the band, you're really gonna be able to just get right into that sweet spot and then just hold it there, big squeeze, and then control it. You might even be able to do some partial reps here. Like at the end of a workout, you know, you're just doing like half reps at that top half to really squeeze that pec, and then maybe get a couple of full range of motion ones to kind of stretch everything out. But it feels really good, and it's a different angle than people are typically working with free weights and things like that. So give these a try. All right, so there you go. There's 4 exercises that should really help boost your chest gains working with bands at home. I know I'm just sitting here just like flexing, and I'm already pretty pumped up just going through these 4 exercises to demonstrate them to you. So they are definitely gonna help you out. Let me know in the comments which one's your favorite, or if I missed any that you absolutely love to do with bands at home, let me know, because chest training with bands can be a little bit tricky, which is why we're putting this video together for you. So I hope you got something out of it. If you did, smash that like button. Also, if you want to see more content like this, check out the on-screen video links. We have tons of resistance band training videos at home with all these different products from Clench Fitness. If you need any of these products, be sure to head over to clenchfitness.com. We will hook you up. There's even a little coupon code down in the description for you if you check it out. And also, thank you so much for watching.